Well, I ended up with a flat tire today on the way home, and I was a little bit disappointed. That'll do it right there. Even with these puncture-resistant tires, that right there will give you a flat tire in no time flat, no pun intended. So, toss that thing out to the woods, and looks like I got a quick change here. Hopefully I don't have any problems and I can still get home in the next hour or two. All right, so that was pretty quick. I could have showed you what's involved with fixing that, but I just wanted to get it done and get on the way home. And it was 3:36 when I checked my watch, and I already had the wheel off. So let's just say this happened. I pulled over at 3:30. It's 3:47 right now, and if I didn't stop to shoot a quick video, I'd already be pedaling on my way home. I had a spare inner tube, a CO2 cartridge, and 3 really strong tire levers because these particular tires they can be a nightmare to get on and off the rim. But Continental, I think, has heard people's complaints about these tires, and they loosened up the beads a little bit because these new ones that I've bought recently are not as difficult to get on and off, but they are a very, very, very tight fit to the rim. And you need all 3 tire levers to get these things on and off. It's not a simple peel off and be done with it kind of a job. So, CO2 cartridge gets me back on the road quick, but what that means is when I get home, I'm going to have to completely drain the air out of the tire and pump it up with a regular pump. And then I'm going to have to drain the air out and do it a couple more times because the CO2 will leak right out of that tire by the morning. And I've got to be back on the road at 6:30 in the morning. So I'm just going to wrap this video up and we'll talk some more later. All right, Tiny House Volume 9, I think it is. And here's where we're at. It gets a little bit tidier by the day. I can't believe I'm. Oh my goodness, so many people making comments about the toilet being out in the room. Like, maybe I like taking a dump when I can see my whole place. No one's going to sneak up on me, that's for sure. But I've said in the last 3 videos that I'm going to get one of those Chinese rice paper screens, the folding wall divider, room divider things, to put some strategic way over here in the corner so that I can still, go over and drop the kids off at the pool when I got to do that, but not have to look over and see the thing and remind me of what it was like to be in prison. So I'm getting there, but I got other priorities right now. So, but I made it home, flat tire, no big deal. As soon as I saw the nail sticking out of the tire, I actually breathed a sigh of relief because if I couldn't see what caused the flat tire, then I was going to be paranoid the whole way home. And those tires, the Continental Ride Tour tires, are very, very puncture resistant. They've got Kevlar reinforcement belts in the tire compound, and I can go 1,000 miles without getting a flat tire. But those tires aren't going to stop a nail, a 2.5-inch long nail from going through. It just, there's debris on the side of the road. Who knows? I hit it at just the right angle. I knew something was wrong because the ride felt a little bit too lumpy. And I looked down and the sidewalls were bulging out a little bit too much. Sure enough, flat tire. I was a little bit irritated because sometimes that particular brand and model of tire, sometimes they're very difficult to get on and off the bike or on and off the rim. And so I wasn't looking forward to it. But the CO2 cartridge, it's the first time I used this particular CO2 cartridge canister that I bought, dispenser, whatever you want to call it. Worked like a charm, no problems at all. It did get, people leave bad reviews on Amazon for everything. And so, I was kind of hoping that I wouldn't have to test the thing out in the field, but that's basically how you test something like that. And I really didn't feel like just wasting a CO2 cartridge to mess with it at home one day. And so I figured if it didn't work, I do have a mini pump, but the mini pump is going to take like 5 to 10 minutes to get enough air in that tire, and it's a little bit more labor intensive. And when you're on a 20-mile bike ride and you're only I don't even think I was 4 miles into the ride when I got that flat. Pissed me off. Definitely had some swear words coming out of my mouth. But when I pulled over to the side of the road, there was a bike trail. I got on the bike trail. I just pulled over to the side, said a quick little prayer to God, and gave the wheel a spin, and boom, there's the nail sticking out of the tire. And so I had some ideas of what I was going to do for today's video. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I have to repack my cycling bag now more meticulously than I normally would, and I'm going to have to go through and make sure I got to change out the CO2 cartridge and do some other things. Maybe, as I'm going through my checklist for that, maybe I'll give you a little tour of what I pack in my cycling bag and what I actually take with me to do these 20-mile rides to the bakery and back. So let me get my act together. I got to see if I can take a shower without the circuit breaker tripping, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say. And we'll get her done. Anyway, peace out. I'll talk to you later. All right, I said I'd give you a tour of what I carry in my backpack and how I'm able to deal with pretty much any situation that's going to be thrown at me while I'm out there on the road cycling, especially when I'm going 20 miles to and from the job. Some things that make it fun and enjoyable, plus, just some things that, keep me safe and make it so that I don't get stranded like I could have easily been stranded today. The number one thing is make sure if you're going on a bike ride and you're going more than 5 miles away from your home, make sure you have the ability to fix a flat tire, know how to do it, and have the tools and the stuff necessary to do it, whether it's a patch kit and a pump or more. And I'll get into that here in a minute, what I carry and why. And I'm just going to set up the tripod and kind of sit down. I'm just going to pick all the stuff up. I had to go through my checklist and make sure I had everything for tomorrow all laid out and ready to go. And so, because of today, I used an inner tube, I used a CO2 cartridge, I used some of the consumables to fix that flat tire. And now I got to do some things to the bicycle. I got to drain that CO2 out of the back tire, pump it up, drain it out, pump it up a couple times just to replace the CO2 with real air. Because a CO2 cartridge will get you home quick. Psst, psst, like 3 seconds, I probably had about 80 PSI in that back tire to get me home. But I'm going to wake up tomorrow and go to leave at 6:30, and I'm going to have a mushy flat tire because a lot of that CO2 is going to leak out the tube. So, I'll give you a little close up here. We got some water bottles, clothes for work, a wallet, some deodorant, shoes, socks, clothes, my Oakley sunglasses in the hard case that they came with, my keychain, bike lock key, house keys, Rovi Von titanium mini flashlight that's super bright, and your standard Swiss Army keychain knife, CO2 cartridge and inflator, lighting, helmet, inner tube, spare tire, spokes, zip ties, and some rubber bands, all in a little package there. Got a mini pump, tire levers, a tool kit, spoke wrenches, a little case that I put some things in, bike lock, rain cover for the backpack, a couple of speakers for the bicycle, and that extra phone there acts solely as a jukebox. So I'll get into more details about all this stuff. But this is the bag that I carry. This is the bag that I've been carrying, and this used to be a backpack. It's a crappy backpack. I got this thing on Sportsman's Guide, which I will never buy anything from that shit show of a website ever again. That, oh my God, I had such a bad experience with them. But I bought this thing for like $50. It's just like a basic sized Molly medium-sized backpack with some compartments and some Molly webbing. The quality's not really that good. It's called Outdoor. What is this? Outdoor. Red Rock Outdoor Gear. It was like $50, but if you want a really good backpack about that size, you want to go with like a brand like Maxpedition or something like that, but those can be up to like $100, maybe $150, depending on what you're looking for. But a backpack like that's going to come with a lifetime warranty, much better stitching. I'm having problems with the stitching on this backpack all the time. This used to be something I would keep in the trunk of my car. A get-home bag is what I would call it. And it would have food and water and some extra clothes and some stuff like that, where if I got stranded somewhere in a vehicle, I had just cheap-ass bags. And I had 3 vehicles. Each vehicle had what was called a get-home bag. Some cheap-ass backpack packed with what you might need if you had to hike to get home, because of a disaster or whatever. It's a good enough backpack for that purpose, but it's not something that you would rely on for a long period of time. But when I started doing this bicycle commute here in Houston, use what you have. I could have went and bought some cycling specific backpack made just for this purpose with a helmet strap and some other things that are meant for cycling. I could have gotten a much better backpack, but then I looked in my boxes of stuff that I brought with me. I saw this and I'm like, you may as well give that a shot. Use what you have. Why spend the money on some more junk when you can I can use this till the thing completely falls apart. And it's got some more life left in it. And it's been turning out to be a pretty good backpack for what I'm doing with it right now. And it fits all this stuff without any problem. In fact, there's room to spare. I can fit cookies in there to bring home. They don't get too damaged on the way home, depending on what else is taking up room in the bag. But anyway, I'm just going to set up a tripod. I'll sit down with y'all and we'll go through this in a little more detail. All right, what's up? It's your boy Adam, and we're going to go through my backpack of fun that I have to carry with me every day. I don't even really know what it weighs. I'm not even going to weigh it. I don't really care. It's really not that heavy. It looks like I got a lot of stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. We'll start out with, we're just going to go from one end to the other. You know how like on the slave ships, when you want to get the slaves rowing at a certain speed and you got a guy banging on a drum, boom, 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 row you fucking slaves, row, boom, boom, boom. Like Ben-Hur or Spartacus or I can't remember the dude's name from The Last Kingdom. Wow, that's crazy because I read all of those books. But anyway, you need some music when you're biking. So I got the JBL. It's called the JBL Go 4. It's got a Velcro strap. It just kind of works because of the way that I have aero bars on that Red Rocket bike. And I can strap that thing right around the front of my aero bars, and it's facing me, and it's a really loud speaker for the size. And then I put this speaker, the JBL Flip 5. I stick this thing in the vertical water bottle mount on the seat tube on the bike. And this thing thumps. This thing's got some good bass, and combined, in order to play them together in unison, I have this old Galaxy phone from back in the day. It's not activated. It's not on any kind of. You can take an old phone and put it on Wi-Fi, But the thing with Samsung phones is they have dual Bluetooth output, so you can output to two speakers at the same time. JBL has an app where you're supposed to be able to hook their speakers up in party mode, but every time they come out with a new speaker, they're only compatible with the speakers that come out at the same time, and they're constantly changing their frequencies and how that thing works. So the app didn't work for the two speakers, which is kind of nice because this thing serves as a jukebox. It just sits in the backpack. I hit play. I can hit play on the speaker when I'm ready to start listening to the music. I got a playlist queued up. Boom, boom, boom. It's good. It's a little buggy at times, but for the most part, that thing thumps. And I experimented because there's some loud freaking roads around here. And combined, these two speakers will drown out the traffic. It's like a motorcycle sound system. I hear the traffic. The reason why I don't wear headphones is you'd be an absolute idiot to wear headphones cycling anywhere where there's traffic. That's a death wish. You need to be able to hear what's coming up behind you. You need to be able to hear what's going on around you. And so these things thump. They're loud. In the loudest, I have yet to go down even the loudest road, the Route 45 access road. This thing's still banging. I can still hear my music just fine. When I stop at a red light, this thing has so much bass that the whole bicycle frame is shaking and the handlebars are vibrating to the beat of the music. So that thing thumps. It actually improves my speed. When I'm listening, depending on the music that I choose, it will have an effect on how fast I'm riding, climbing hills. Not that there's a lot of hills here in Texas, but there's a few little up and downs on my way in and back to this 20-mile ride. And the music helps. And it helps take away the amount of time. Because, I'm riding for between an hour and up to an hour and a half, depending on, what happens. Today I think it was an hour and 40 minutes to get home because of the flat tire. So, but people were asking me today, because I was talking about it at work, what do you do about the rain? And I'm like, well, people are asking me, so what do you do when it rains? And I'm like, well, you get wet. I mean, if you're going to be about bicyclists, then rain is something you're going to have to deal with. So this little pouch here has a little rain cover for the backpack. I can just pull this thing out, wrap it around the backpack. Everything in the backpack stays pretty dry. The backpack itself has some pretty good water resistance, and the inside of it has like a rubberized coating, and nothing is 100% foolproof, but when it comes to the rain, I'm ready for it. I'm going to get wet, but the things that I need to keep dry are going to stay dry. All the electronics are waterproof. The speakers are waterproof. The lighting is all waterproof. There's nothing that I'm carrying that can't get wet. Let's see. I've got a Frog Togs Walmart brand raincoat. And I'm not pulling this thing out because I just don't want to take the time. But it's a full-on rain jacket. It's not garbage fabric. It's a nice looking coat. But there's an inside pocket, and you just stuff the thing into itself. I wish it had a zipper instead of the Velcro snaps here. But other than that, it's a pretty solid thing. I don't remember. It was $30-40. I've got a couple of these. I always would buy, anytime I had prepper gear, I always had whatever I had, and then my son had a matching whatever it was. So we always had two of everything. And then even if my son isn't around, I had two of these coats. If one got completely trashed because the weather was terrible and I hadn't washed it yet, boom, I got another one. So I got a raincoat. I don't always take it with me because it takes up room in the bag that I don't like to have, but if the weather forecast is calling for rain, I will grab that thing. Let's see, we're just going to go in order of, I'm just going down the list. Somebody was asking me, what kind of bicycle lock do you use? Right now, I'm using a Kryptonite Evolution U-lock. And then whenever I use a U-lock, I always have a supplemental steel cable to go with it. U-lock is your most secure kind of a bike lock. And this kind of a lock here would be pretty safe everywhere except like a major city like New York City. They make special locks. Kryptonite will guarantee your bicycle up to $1,000 or something like that if you use one of their locks. But this lock they will not guarantee in New York City. They will only guarantee, there's one specific lock, it's called the Forget About It lock. And it's a much thicker U-lock, it's shorter, and it comes with this crazy heavy chain. The thing weighs like 40 pounds or some crazy shit. It's nuts. I used to have one. And what I would do with that, I used to commute to downtown Pittsburgh, so I would leave the Forget About It lock permanently locked around a bike rack that I always locked my bike up in a parking garage. And I'm like, if the security guards get mad about it or whatever, they're going to have an easier time cutting the bike rack apart to get the lock off the bike rack than they're going to have cutting the bike lock off of the rack. But at one point I stopped working at the company I was working at, and so I took a ride down there or when I was down there parked one day, I just walked over to the parking garage and took my lock back. But when the FBI drove a tank into my house, that's one of the things I lost. We'll get into so I've got this cycling computer. It's a Cat-Eye micro wireless cycling computer. It takes a watch battery, button cell. This thing, a battery will last. I've seen batteries in this thing last 5 years. I just changed the battery a couple months ago. There's a button here, there's a backlight. It's supposed to have a backlight. That's not working anymore. I don't know what happened there. But other than that, the thing works great. There's a magnet sensor on the fork and the wheel. Every time the wheel goes a revolution, it talks to this thing. And this is just great to look down and be able to see what speed I'm going, average speed, distance. You can program all kinds of shit into here. It's not GPS. It's not anything complicated. It'll tell you how fast you're going. It'll tell you how far you're going and all the other stuff that goes with that. But it's reliable. If the other electronics die, the phone that you're watching me on right now, that's mounted to my handlebars, and I'll take you on a tour of the bicycle because I got to bring it in here to do the quick little maintenance that I've got to do, and I'll just show you as I'm setting up the bike for tomorrow. I'm going to have it all like ready to go. Before I go to sleep, the bicycle will be ready to go. That way when I get up tomorrow, I got to get dressed, have some coffee, get dressed and go. I don't got to worry about nothing. I have this little case here. It came with a flashlight. I'll show you the flashlight. I put the little bike computer in there, but there's also this little wrench. And this little wrench is to adjust the handlebar mount for the cell phone. This handlebar mount is expensive. And so it's a nice, it's a security feature so that somebody can't just walk up and steal your handlebar phone mount. And you can safely leave it, locked up somewhere and nobody's going to steal your phone mount. And it's a really, really, really good phone mount. I can stick this phone on the handlebars and that thing doesn't move. And that I could be in a 50-mile-an-hour crash and that phone is not going to get jostled from the phone mount at all. And it's got shock absorbers, so the phone doesn't vibrate too much. You can actually read it. I'll keep Google Maps turned on for the rides that I've been going on over the last week and just have either navigation turned on or just have a route pre-marked on the map that I'm just kind of following. And I'm getting to the point where 1 or 2 more rides, I'm not even going to use a map because I know where I'm going and I'm taking the same route every day. But having that thing on the handlebars, I can sit there and because of these badass speakers, I could take a phone call. I could just Bluetooth to the speakers, and I could like take phone calls while I'm riding my bike if I wanted to, or whatever. Do a little FaceTime. Let's see, tools. Spoke wrench. This is a special park tool spoke wrench meant for the front wheel of my bike. It's a Shimano racing wheel from back in the day. I can't even get extra spokes for that wheel, so if I do break a spoke on the front wheel, I'm pretty much screwed. But the only time I can ever remember breaking the spoke on a front wheel on a bicycle is when I got hit head on by an old lady I was going 45 miles an hour and she was going 45 miles an hour, and she hit me head on, and I landed 30 feet from the car. I flew over the car and landed in the ditch on the side of the road, but it was all grass and soft mud. So I literally jumped up without a scratch, and my adrenaline was going, and I almost ripped this old lady out of her car and murdered her in front of a bunch of people. But the police and ambulances and stuff came before any of that could happen. That's probably a good thing. Another spoke wrench, standard Park Tool spoke wrench. It's got the 3 most common spoke sizes on it, and so if a wheel gets messed up, out of round, and I also carry 2 spare spokes for my back wheel, and I also have some zip ties and a couple of rubber bands here holding it all together, plus spoke nipples, because you never know if you're going to have a spoke nipple issue when you're changing a broken spoke on the side of the road. This is more just a result of I had 2 spokes break on the way into work on my 5-mile commute that I was going on back and forth. And in 5 miles, I heard ping, and then like a mile later, I heard ping again. 2 spokes were broken on the back. I thought the back wheel was done. I went and bought a new back wheel at the bike shop. I've yet to ride on it because it was quicker for me, just speed-wise and everything else I've got going on. It was quicker to just put 2 new spokes on that wheel. And when I trued it up, it was nice and straight. And it's not... That wheel's got some... It's got a couple thousand... It's got thousands of miles on it by now. But... it's not a bad wheel. It kind of surprised me that spokes were pinging off, but I've been riding it since that day and I haven't had a single issue. It hasn't gone out of true. It's not wobbling at all. So I'm just going to ride that thing until it falls apart, and then when it does, I've got a brand new back wheel to exchange. It's a nicer wheel, so it'll be an upgrade when I do trade it out. Here is a Blackburn multi-tool. And this thing, it just has a bunch of different Allen wrenches. It's got some other tools. And it's got, take this thing off. You got a chain tool to take your chain on and off. And it's got a little compartment where you can put an extra chain link. So if you break the link on a chain, you can put a quick link in. And that's stored right on the tool, which is kind of cool. Doesn't come with that, but it gives you a good reason to go out and get an extra quick link so that you can just carry it right with your tool there. And they give you this real heavy duty rubber band to hold the thing. I wish this could have been designed better so that it didn't need some dumbass rubber band to hold the thing together, but I needed a multi-tool and I needed it quick, and I was at the bike shop. This is what they had, so it's not bad. Blackburn. One thing about Blackburn, the company, everything Blackburn sells is guaranteed for life. And I kid you not, I have traded in, I had a pump break. Pump was like 10, 15 years old. I sent them an email, boom, they sent me a brand new pump. Pretty much anything Blackburn, lights, anything you buy from the company Blackburn, they will replace. It could be 50 years old and it's lifetime warranty. You don't even need the receipt to do it. Tire levers, very important for your flat tire kit. We're going to get into that now. These Park Tool levers, you want to make sure don't get the cheap ass crappy tire levers. You want the Park Tool or some other high end. They're not expensive for the best tire levers. Park Tool makes the best bicycle tools. They're more expensive, but they're pretty much bomb proof. They're a lifetime investment. The tires that I have on my bike right now on the Red Rocket, the bead fits on the rim so tight that I need all three of these things to get the tire on and off, and it is a pain in the ass. That was the thing that I was MFing about when I pulled over to the side of the road with a flat tire, because I knew I was going to be having a wrestling match to get the tire off. And I could switch to a different tire. Most bike tires on road bikes the bead is loose enough that you can take one tire lever, pry it up, do a little loop around the thing, and it'll come right off the rim. These freaking Continental tires are something else. The newest ones that I've just bought are a little more forgiving, but these Continental tires, they fit so tight to the rim that if you're not careful putting in the inner tube and putting the rim back on, or putting the bead on the rim, you can just rip the inner tube apart by putting the tire on the rim. I've ripped more than one tube apart just trying to put these stupid tires on the rim. But I like these tires because I can ride my bike for 1,000 miles and not get a flat tire with these Continental Ride Tour tires. They're meant for long distance cycling. They've got a little bit of tread on them. They're not super smooth like a road racing tire. So they're not as good on pavement. They're not as grippy, but they're a nice cross between a road bike and a hybrid, because my bike has much skinnier tires than what a hybrid bike would have. But I've taken my Red Rocket on dirt bike trails that are meant for, the C&O Canal Trail and the Great Allegheny Passage that goes from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh, or vice versa, is mostly dirt, either crushed limestone or just straight up dirt. Packed down dirt, but when it rains, it gets muddy. It's not like a mountain bike trail, but if you have smooth road bike tires, you're going to be slipping and sliding and having all kinds of fun. I've seen it. I've watched people, and I'm just zipping by because I've got just a little bit of tread. Patch kit. Patch kit is important because I do take I always have a brand new inner tube in that bag. Now, the inner tubes that I have two inner tubes now that have punctures. The one from today and another one from a while back. I'll patch those. I'll use a patch kit like this on those. And if you use the patch kits that have the tube of glue and the rubber patches, it's a contact rubber cement. When it's vulcanized. It actually melds the rubber of the patch with the inner tube, and the inner tube will be better than new. Where the patch is, it will be stronger than it was as the original bike tube. So what I'll do is I'll just keep those as spares. And if I'm home and I have to change out a flat tire in a tube, I'll take one of my spares and just throw it in there and use that. And then if I get a flat on that, I've got a brand new one in my backpack and I'll swap it. Brand new inner tube and a CO2 cartridge with CO2 is the fast way to get home. It took me 15 minutes to do the swap, and I wasn't even in a hurry. I was screwing around. I was just chilling. I was a little bit ticked off about it, but I took my time. I wasn't in a rush, and I got home no problem. Oh, that's what that is. I got home no problem, no issues getting home, and I was home when I was supposed to be home, and no harm, no foul. But if I had to use a patch kit and a mini pump, you can add another 15 minutes to that. That would have been a half-hour stop to change my tire. So yeah, spare tube, carry that everywhere you go. if you need it, I have more in my toolkit. Grab another one. I'm gonna order more on Amazon right now, because you always want to have extra inner tubes at the ready. And like I said, I'm gonna patch the ones that are punctured, that are patchable, and then I'll have those. And I'll go for those before I go for the new ones. The new ones are the ones that I throw in my backpack and my kits. Because that's what you want when you're broken down on the side of the road. When I'm home and I'm working on bikes at home and I throw in a patched inner tube and for some reason it's not holding air, I'm not stranded on the side of the road. I can be like, all right, mother effer, this and that, and I can pull the wheel back off, take the tube out, put another one in, and I got time to screw around with it. This is for when you don't got time to screw around and you just want to get home. So like I was saying, you got a little CO2 cartridge. You slide this up onto the rim, lock it in place. You got a little it's literally like done. And you've got 80 to 100 psi. I don't know. I didn't have a psi gauge, but the tire was hard. I rode it all the way home. It felt good. It probably wasn't at 100 psi, but it was probably up to 80. That'd be my guess. It takes these CO2 cartridges. You can store the CO2 cartridge upside down inside the thing, to keep the little pokey thing from poking a hole in that. You don't want that to happen. It's designed to be carried like that. And then when you need to use it, you just unscrew it. You flip the thing over so the pokey thing is going to poke it. You put that down. Once you turn this thing and lock it in place, that thing has been poked through, and then you've got a trigger here. And when you squeeze this trigger, that's going to come out. When I don't like CO2 cartridge inflators that don't have a control mechanism. Some of them you just have to spray and pray. You screw the thing on and it's like, and that's it. If you screw up, you screw up. I actually got 2 or 3 good shots out of this thing before the cartridge died. And even when I got home, I had to release the air that was left in this thing before I unscrewed this, or the thing's going to go boom and fly across the room. So CO2, it's great. Saves you some time, especially when you're just trying to get home. Patch kit, already talked about that. Duct tape. I got a good use of an old expired credit card. Wrap some duct tape around that shit, and then you've got a nice easy way to carry some duct tape with you wherever you go. I have more than one of these little packs. The Gorilla brand duct tape is my favorite. It's the strongest, it's the stickiest. So many uses for duct tape. We all know you can fix anything with duct tape, but one of the more important things when it comes to your tires, if you get a rip in your tire sidewall to where the inner tube's gonna come out the side of the tire when you blow it up and go boom, you can wrap duct tape around the side. You can cover that with duct tape, good duct tape, and that will get you home. There's a very small chance that the inner tube's gonna push through duct tape and the sidewall rip, and that's gotten me home more than one time, especially on a mountain bike ride. And to tell you the truth, when I was broke and I was a teenager, I would have duct tape tires that I would ride another 100 miles on before I'd replace them, and I wouldn't even change the duct tape. Broke ass college student, I was riding around on duct tape tires more than once. They work. But in the worst case scenario, if you do have a tire that is completely shredded, carry a spare tire. If you get a tire with a Kevlar bead, Kevlar bead makes it a foldable tire. So instead of a steel wire bead around the edge of the tire, this is Kevlar, and so you can roll these up. You can do that. Now, there's other kinds of tires out there. You've got your tubeless tires now. You've got the old sew-up tires. Most of you, those aren't going to be in the bikes that you're riding. If you're a serious cyclist, then you might have, if you have tubeless tires, you're going to have sealant inside. That's another thing. If I had some slime, if I had sealant even inside my inner tube, if I had some slime rolling around in there, I would have gotten home. But the problem is I would have gotten home and not even known that there's a nail sticking out of my tire. Because it would have sealed that leak, and or I could have pulled the nail out and spun the tire really quick, and it would have sealed the tire, and I could have probably put the CO2 thing on and just come home and dealt with it at home. But I don't like the slime. I don't like it. It's a mess. It's not something that I like to do, and so I don't. Another thing you want to carry if you're into cycling, and the best thing to carry is a little mini pump. So you get a flat tire, because the CO2 is a one-shot deal, and if that, I don't want to carry extra cartridges. I could, but it's just more stuff. I got the CO2 because chances are I'm going to get one flat, but if I got two flats, well, now I've got, oh, what the hell happened here? It's not supposed to do that. Oh, let's see. Here we go. There we go. So you put that on your valve, and then you've got and you're going to be doing that for about 5 minutes, depending on the pump. This thing will go up to over 100 psi, and that's what you need for a road bike. I had a Blackburn pump that was carbon fiber. I loved that thing. It would push air out on the pull and the push stroke. It would pump up a tire really fast. This thing, I don't know. I've never used it. It's Top Peak is the brand. They're a good brand. It's good stuff. It's a good quality pump. I haven't been in a position to use this yet. Today was the first time that I used this CO2 system, and whew, it worked. In fact, I didn't even lock that to the valve stem, and it worked just fine. I had it like this, and I was holding it like this when I filled up my tire. So, I mean, technically air could have been leaking out the side, and I could have screwed the whole thing up. Now I know I'm supposed to go like that to lock it to the valve, but it worked just fine. I mean, this thing is great. This thing did a really good job. I was really happy when I heard pff, pff, and it was done, and there was no air coming out the tire. Let's see, lighting is next. So I got this helmet. This is a cheap ass Cannondale helmet. I don't like this helmet very much. It fits me okay. It's not comfortable. I've had much better fitting helmets that didn't cost much more than this. When I first got to Houston, I had to get a bunch of stuff in order to be able to ride my bike. So I was getting the cheap version of a lot of stuff because I had to get a lot of stuff, and it was like a $350 bill to get all the different things. So the helmet was something that I kind of cheaped out on and got the cheapest one they had. And I kind of wish I had gotten maybe the next one up. I don't know. But it does the job. It's going to protect my head. This light on top. This came from Walmart. The brand is Coast. And it was just an off-the-wall purchase a long time ago. And it's a headlamp. It's got a strap that goes around your head. But I just took a Velcro strap. Just a Velcro strap that I got a bunch of them on Amazon. And I strapped this thing to the helmet, and I haven't touched it since I mounted it on here, and it works great. And this freaking thing is combined with this other thing, the brand, this is the Olight Warrior X Pro or something, I think that's what it's called. I have two Velcro straps and a pencil where I mount, so the way that I mount this thing to my bike is under the aero bars, and I figured out that if I could put something under it going across, it helps aim it down a little bit, because at first it was shooting too high up in the air. And so I had to fiddle around with how do I get the thing pointed where I want it to be. And I found out, if I take a sawed off number 2 pencil and just kind of slide it in there, it points the thing down, and then I've got these 2 Velcro straps. That thing ain't going nowhere. It's tight. It's mounted just right on the front of my bike. So this one is on my bike. This one's on my head. And combined, these 2 lights are, it's like car headlights. This thing here is so bright. Look at that. Like, yeah, that thing's gonna, if somebody pisses me off, I can hit this button on the side and just hold it down for a second, and it's like 3,000 lumens or something like that, and I can aim it right at the driver, and I can pretty much put someone in the ditch if I want to. If they're pissing me off and it's time for that asshole to go in the ditch, he's gonna be sorry that he high beamed me coming the opposite direction, because I can high beam him right back. That light. In fact, when I left this morning, I had this on the lowest setting it has, and all these people were like, "Oh my God, that is so bright! Where'd you get that light?" And I hit the button on the side, and it went boo! Like, it's like Jesus came out of the sky when this thing turns on. It's crazy. It's like the sun rose an hour early when I turn this thing on. Nobody wants to fuck with me coming down the road when I got that thing aimed at their head. But for me, it's great because between the 2 lights, this nice Olight Warrior compact flashlight, this thing's probably about 2,000 lumens. Between the 2 of those, it's like I got headlights on a car. I can see everything. I got this other little headlight. It's a shitty little Bell headlight. It came in a set with a blinker light, one of these things. It came in a set of 2. They suck. This is actually a nice little blinky light. I can strap this thing to my seat post, and it's got a little nub right there, but it's also a charger. You plug it directly into a USB port. I don't like either of these things. The cover for the back of this thing came off, and that's how you just slide that into a USB port and it charges. I don't like that. I definitely don't like this. It's not bright at all. It was just, I needed Target. Everything you buy at these box marts is garbage. This included the bike pump I was talking about. That sucks. So this thing, I came up with a good idea of how to use this. And so I took the mount off the bottom of it, and you'll see here, I drilled a hole in a Velcro strap, and I stuck it in there. And then I have this Velcro strap. Now this Velcro strap attaches to my saddle on my bicycle, so I can wedge this thing right up in there. And so this thing's right under my ass when I'm pedaling down the road at night. But with this blinky light, I've got another blinky red light, and then this thing, if I really want to be a dick, I can have that going on. So anybody coming up behind me is going to get a disco show. It's going to be like they just went to the nightclub and they dropped some ecstasy when they're coming up behind me. So there's no excuse. If they can't say they didn't see me. I've got this other light right here that I can strap to my backpack. And it's a vertical one, and it's dead. I used up the last of the battery this morning. So, but between these 2, whoops. So I got these 2 red lights facing backwards, and they both flash like strobes. And then I've got this bright white strobe light. Bang, 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 bang. It's like the CIA strapped someone to a chair and held their eyelids open and went like this at them for, 6 hours to torture them and to program them to go assassinate the president or whatever. It's probably the same thing. And between those 3 on the back and those other 2 on the front, there's no way anybody can say they didn't see me. My lights are brighter than a freaking car. So we got that. Plus, if I need to see, I've got this light too. This it's a Rovi Von titanium compact flashlight with a little USB charger on the side. And that's just in my EDC kit, my everyday carry kit. I used to have more stuff in my EDC kit, but it's all over the place. And like everything else that happens when the FBI drives a tank into your house and hauls you off to federal prison for 2 years, it's hard to sort your shit out when you get back. So I got this flashlight on the keychain. I've got your Swiss Army knife. It's got your standard. It's got a little screwdriver and nail file. Your blade. You got your little scissors. You got little plastic toothpick, and some of you are going to know what this is for, but everybody might, certain people might need a little roach clip handy from time to time, and you got that in your little Swiss Army knife. You got it all. You never know when that's going to come in handy. And for a watch right now, I'm just wearing the same watch that I was wearing when I was homeless, this solar powered Casio G-Shock high-end ProTech G-Shock that has thermometer and all kinds of stuff on it. I'm just wearing it right now. I've got other watches to pick from. When Garmin sends me that new heart rate monitor, I'm going to probably put this in my watch case and just leave it alone for a while. And then I'm just going to do, that. I had these Oakley sunglasses, these nice, and they finally got their very first nick on the lens. I've had these things for years, and I just noticed a tiny little nick on the lens today, of all days. But I've had these for a long time. Normally, I wouldn't have expensive sunglasses, but there's a reason why I have these. It was kind of like a little victory dance back when I got a high-paying job a while back. And they came with a hard case and a soft case, but the hard case protects them really well. They can be in my backpack, and I can really, nothing is going to crush this thing and mess up my glasses. And having eye protection is, if you ever had a bug smack you in the eye when you're going 40 miles an hour, it's not fun. So eye protection is a good thing to have. Sometimes I wear them even when it's cloudy, just because you don't want to get, like I said, don't want to get smacked in the face with a bug. Pair of socks. I'm going to wear those tomorrow. I have these synthetic shirts that I always wear, so I'll wear that tomorrow. And then I always take an extra synthetic shirt in my backpack, because I can handle putting on, I've got a pair of shorts that I'm wearing, and I've got some regular boxer briefs that I wear, but I'm going to start getting some padded cycling shorts, either regular cycling shorts or cycling underwear shorts to go under my short, because now I'm riding longer distances, and the old taint is, you got to take care of the taint, or taint going to take care of you. So you got to keep that. So that's on my list of things that I need to get from good old Amazon or the bike shop, probably Amazon because it's going to be cheaper. And there's more selection. Let's see. Cycling shoes, special cycling shoes. So these are my cycling shoes. The brand is Giro. They're pretty good. These are pretty good shoes. I like them. I didn't think I would like this mechanism the first time I had a pair of cycling shoes with this. I used to get these ones that had a ratchet buckle that you would just kind of wrench down, and then you push a little button to release them when you want to take your shoes off. And I didn't think, I'm like, just a bunch of fishing line for shoelaces? I didn't think that was going to work very well. But this is my second or third pair of shoes that have this thing. And so what you do is you push down, you just twist that up. It tightens these things down, and then when you want to take them off, you just pull that knob, and the whole thing loosens up. Your foot comes right out, and then you got a little Velcro strap to adjust how loose or how tight you want your toe box to be. And then on the bottom of these shoes, that cleat right there snaps into my pedals. This is a mountain bike. This is a mountain bike system. With these kind of shoes, you can still kind of walk normal, like a normal human being when you're walking around places. If you get road bike shoes, they have much bigger cleats. There's advantages to that for road racing. But for general purpose, if you ever want to get into like not having clips and straps, but you want to be connected to your bike securely, these are great. They can come right out. You just hook the little thing in. You don't even really have to hook the front in first. You just kind of tunk like that. They just kind of, they're like ski bindings. They just snap into place. And when you want to get off of your bike, you just twist your foot to the side and they pop right out. And then these are mountain bike shoes. So these front cleats are replaceable. These are just placeholders right now. But if I wanted to get some meaty, like fangs to stick on the front of this shoe because I'm going to be off-roading and walking around in mud and stuff like that, I could replace these placeholders with some meaty hooks to, for mountain bike racing. That's what these shoes are for. But I like mountain bike shoes better than road bike shoes for general purpose cycling. The thing about bicycle shoes is when you wear a pair of sneakers and you're riding your bike. I'm gonna go grab a sneaker. I'm gonna show you this. Oh, I'm so beat. All right, a running shoe. You decide you want to go riding a bike. You put your shoe on. Look how that's bending like that. Every time you pedal, your shoe is going like this. And you're losing all that energy. When you put a pair of cycling shoes on and you click, now your entire shoe is the pedal of the bicycle. That thing's not moving. It's flexing just a little bit because these are mountain bike shoes and these are actually meant to be able to get off the bike and walk up a muddy hill and carry your mountain bike with you if you're off-road. And a pair of road bike shoes, that is a rock. You're not getting any flex out of these. But I'm really wrenching down and I can barely get these things to flex at all. If I put the same amount of torque on these, I can just bend them in half almost. So that's why you wear cycling shoes. The entire shoe becomes the pedal of your bike. And now you've got your full foot is in the mix and the whole shoe is your pedal instead of just a little pedal and your foot going like this every time you push down on the pedal. Let's see. And with these, they hook in so you can get a round pedal stroke. So you can pull up on the upstroke and the cleat is holding on to the pedal. And so you're getting that pull along with the push on the downstroke. So this a pair of these and the right pedals will extra 10 miles an hour on your average speed right off just because you got shoes. It's probably the most important thing to get on a bicycle if you're going to get serious about riding a bike. Got my wallet. Just going to hide some of my ID here, but this is called the Travax something or other wallet. It's got a thing here, like a big band that wraps around your credit cards, and then it's got a money clip, and then it all just kind of folds together. This thing you can get about that many credit cards in this thing before you can't fit anymore. It's a ridiculous, but I'm poor and uncreditworthy, so I got a couple of debit cards and a driver's license. Oh, and I also have this little multi-tool here that's the size of a credit card, and it's got some little wrenches and some other doodads on there. And this thing might get you out of a jam too. You never know. It's got rulers on it, and it's kind of like one of those multi-tool belt buckle contraption things. Pretty cool little thing to carry around in your wallet if you're a prepper. But I love this wallet. It keeps everything secure. I've got a good hunk of paracord hanging off of this thing. It's just all held together with paracords and a strap and a little hook. Travax, that's the company. People are always asking me when I pull this wallet out, where did you get it? They don't make this particular wallet anymore because people hated the paracord because it always gets frayed. I've replaced my paracord numerous times, but they've got like a 10-year warranty. I could get a brand new wallet, but it won't have the paracord, and it'll have some other strap contraption that they came up with. I came to the conclusion that I actually like it, but I do have to replace the paracord from time to time, and I'll tie like a fancy knot at the end and melt it. And I just give myself a lot of length on my paracord when I do that. Normally, when I was a high roller and I had a big stack of credit cards and a big fat wad of cash, this cord might be that long instead of that long. But I'm not a high roller anymore. I'm a thin roller now. But it does make it handy to be able to hook it onto things or hang it from stuff. And you got these other little hanging hooks. And cool ass wallet. I've had this thing for at least 10 years. At least 10 years. Got some deodorant. Gotta have something so you don't stink when you go to work and you're riding your bike in. So I get the Mando whole body deodorant, 72 hour, and that's legit. You put this stuff in your pits. The commercial, it's got the commercial with that weird lady where she's talking about you put it on your pits, you put it on your private parts, you put it on your feet. But it's legit. It lasts 72 hours. I can go like this and I don't smell my own stank for 72 hours after I put this stuff on. Good stuff. Throw that on when I get to the bakery and nobody's walking around going, "What's that smell?" Works pretty good. I got a 511 tactical belt. Somebody was asking me in the comments, are you allowed to carry a gun? No, I'm never allowed to carry a gun for the rest of my life, but I've got these tactical belts in different widths. They're still great belts. They have steel reinforcement in here, and these are the only belts I've ever owned that don't get all deformed over time. You can have one of these belts for 10 years and it's still going to be perfectly straight. Like it's never going to deform to your crooked ass body like a cheap belt will. And then I just roll it up and keep it secure with a Velcro strap. And I just take that with me. That's for work. These are my work clothes. I'll put this is my hat for work. Got my t-shirt for work. And I gotta wear black pants, so I roll with some black jeans. I've got a number of these. These are the cool, the Lee Extreme Motion MVP. It's got the stretchy waistband. It's jeans, but they're stretchy. They're stretchy all the way around. The fabric is stretchy. It's great. They're super, 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 super comfortable. They're like maybe $35 a pair at Kohl's. You can get them on sale. You can get them on sale on Amazon down to like $20-25 a pair. They're Lee. They're not it's not like some fancy brand, but I've got a bunch of these. I've got a bunch of these Lee Extreme stretchy jeans. I love them. I like other brands of jeans. I've had some really expensive jeans, but these are like my go-to. If I'm going to go to Kohl's down the road because I need another pair of jeans, I'm looking for these. And then last but not least, let me grab this. It's hard to set up the camera it's hard to make it look like I'm not a fat piece of shit right now, but I'm riding my bicycle 200 miles this week, so maybe I'll be able to do any camera angle and pull off the I'm not a fat piece of shit look anymore. But right now it's a little, I got the down looking up angle is not as good. All the ladies, when they're on the dating websites, what do? They're like this. They're like this. They're like trying to, all the fat chicks are always going like this, like that, and like, oh, let me put my cleavage in there, but they're always looking up at the camera. That's how you know she's going to be a big one when you go out on a date with her. If all of her camera angles are from up looking down, you know she's just trying to do camera tricks. And oh, I got big boobs. Well, most big girls have big boobs. Like, big fucking deal. But anyway, back to the point here. We got the Camelback Podium stainless steel water bottle. I fill this with cold brew coffee every morning, and I had my cold brew coffee today at, I think it was noon. So I got there at 8 in the morning, and I didn't touch this until noon. It was still ice cold. So it does the job, but it's kind of weird. It's got this like weird straw thing that comes in, but this isn't what you drink out of. This is what lets the air into the mug when you're sucking the stuff out of this. And because this is stainless steel, you can't squeeze it. And so I don't even think you need this straw. And I've had to cut the thing a few times when I'm washing it because it doesn't like to go back on the thing that it goes on to. And this whole thing is really hard to clean. There's like a rubber ring in here that you can't get out easily. You need like a little hook. You need like dental tools to get the freaking rubber ring out. And that thing gets covered in mold if you're not careful. And this thing is extremely hard to clean. I don't know. I if I was given this thing on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I'd bounce back and forth between 2 and 3 stars on this thing. But I'd probably just stick with the 3 stars because it does keep my drink cold. And it's the shape. The shape is what's important. It's hard to find an insulated stainless steel bottle that will slide into a bicycle water bottle cage. This is like the standard bicycle water bottle size. And so, but if you're like out on a weekend ride, you want to put some ice water in a thing and have cold water to drink, you got it. And you could probably refill the thing a few times and still have ice in it, especially if you pre-chilled it before you went out on your ride and then filled it with ice and water. But I don't know. It's not my favorite. It does the job. And last but not least, underneath the bicycle, I have 3 water bottle mounts. So I've got this, and then underneath the down tube behind the front wheel, I got a little stubby water bottle that sits there like this, and I can get some extra drinking water to take with me. And that comes in handy, especially when I'm on a 20-mile ride now. If I was going on like a 500-mile ride, multi-day ride, these aren't the speakers that I have. AAA battery powered speakers that I can mount to my handlebars, and then I have all 3 of my water bottle mounts, because if I'm going on a 400 or 500 mile bike ride, I'm not taking stuff that I have to plug USB cables in to charge over and over again. Plus, these speakers are kind of heavy, and so on a long distance ride, I'm gonna set my stuff up a lot different, but that pretty much covers all the stuff that I take when I'm on a bike ride. And so I'm going to gather my stuff up, pack my backpack here, and then I'm just going to kind of set up my bike for tomorrow morning, get the air pumped back into the back tire, get the air replaced, and do all the things that I don't want to do at 5 in the morning. And then I'll give you a quick little tour of the bike itself and just kind of show you how it's going to be laid out for the bike ride tomorrow morning. And I've got to charge some batteries and some other stuff, and it's all kind of a pain, especially when I got to do this like 4 times and 5 times in a week. But that's it. That's what I roll with, and that's how I'm able to take care of just about any situation that's going to pop up on me. I may configure things a little bit different. If it's cold weather, I'm wearing some gloves, a little ear band that goes around here, some longer pants. I've got long sleeve jerseys that I can wear. I'm not pulling out every single thing. I do have some power bricks. I've been taking a power brick with me on this long ride, but I've never used it. The phone, I can leave the screen on this phone the entire bicycle ride without turning the screen off or even dimming the brightness, and I'll come home with like 40% left on the battery. And when I'm at the bakery, I can just charge it in the wall charger that they have sitting there. They have a couple of chargers that are just there for the taking. And I'll just plug in my stuff, recharge it all while I'm working, and by the time I'm ready to come home, my speakers and my phone and my jukebox are all charged and I'm ready to rock. Because I don't want my music to cut out on the way home. So that covers what's in the backpack. Like I said, I got to go take some time to get the bike set up, get something to eat, and I'll give you a quick little tour of the bike, and then we'll upload this video and we'll call it a day. One thing I kind of forgot to show is when I need to charge all these electronic things that go with the cycling kit, I have a permanent power brick station, I guess you could call it, I keep all these wires bundled together with Velcro ties, and I keep them all plugged into the same power brick. And I just store the thing as is, so that when it's time to charge that light, that light, that light, that speaker, that light, and that light, all at the same time, all I have to do is pull this power brick with the bundle of wires out, unvelcro all the cables, and just plug everything in all at once. And then when I'm done charging all this stuff, all I have to do is unplug everything, bound everything up, and store it. And so that's what I do. That's how I can quickly, I know that I have all the little connectors, all the different, that thing takes the O-Light takes a special connector. These are USB-C. This is a USB-C, but it's extremely finicky about which charging block. I use this charging block and this one right here, and it's extremely finicky. That light will not turn on. The charging indicator will not turn on if I plug it into just about any other charging block. It's extremely finicky about which one it wants you to use. And so I can charge all of these things at once. These two lights that are here, these are the ones that have the goofy USB plug that you just stick in a charger and charge. And then there's micro USB. That's a micro USB charger. That's a micro USB charger instead of USB-C. And so all these little goofy doodads and connectors I have all just bound up together so that all I have to do is pull out this little charge station and set it up somewhere, and I can just ching, 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 plug everything in. And I don't got to think about it. I don't got to go searching for this block or that charge block or that cable or this cable. I just keep them all together, and I keep the thing all as a package deal. And in terms of the phones, I've got these wireless chargers here, or I can just unplug the USB-C cable from the wireless charger, plug it directly into the phone, which actually charges the phone twice as fast. So the two phones that I'm carrying with me, I can just set them on these wireless chargers, and I can charge those along with all this other stuff. So within a few hours, most of this stuff it's not going to take long to get a full charge out of all this stuff. Then I'll set up the bike. I'll show you what it looks like when the whole bike is put together. And I'll deck it out this time. I'll put all the lights on. I'll put the full disco show on the light or on the bike. And I'll show you what somebody's in for if they want to mess with me at night while I'm riding down the road. I only have to ride in the dark from 6:30 in the morning until 7:05 when the sun comes up for now. And on these rides, I've been taking one blinky, two blinkies, and this. I haven't been using the extra headlamp, and I haven't been using the strobe light on the back. But it doesn't take long to hook all that stuff up, and it doesn't take long. It takes even less time to rip it all off the bike when I get to the bakery. So I'll show you all what it looks like when it's all set up, and we'll go from there. All right, so here's what the red rocket looks like when it's ready to rock. Like I said, we got the base down here. We got the coffee here. We got the water here. We come up to the handlebar area. I got the Obama phone clipped in just as a demonstration of what you're going to see when you're sitting in the cockpit, because I'm holding the phone. It actually gets clicked in there while I film this for you guys. There's the cycling computer that's going to tell me my speed, distance, that kind of stuff. This thing can be showing me that too. Google Maps, Strava. I could watch YouTube on here while I'm riding home. I could turn on Netflix. I could watch Amazon Prime. I got the speakers for it. Right there. There's the front speaker, the JBL. There's the O-Light headlamp that attaches to the bike. And here is the strobe and the seat post blinker. And on the back of the backpack, I can clip this light. And with the helmet lamp, I'll just kind of do a little demonstration here and show you guys what it all looks like when we'll take a look at what this is all going to look like if someone wants to mess with me. Here we go. Let me put this back in. Okay, so there's my headlamp. Let's kick in the front headlight of the bike. So there's my front headlight mixed in with the... Now if I go like this, yeah, there's my headlamp. You can see that there mixed in with the front lamp of the bike. And that's got a good, more of a spotlight beam. This is more of a wide beam. I can also hit a button that makes that a whole lot brighter. Go back down, turn that on. So like I said, if somebody bright blasts me, I just hold this button and it's like, boo, like that. And but I'm not going to drain my battery totally tonight. But then I get this thing going. Got that going. We'll get... All right, so now we got the strobe. And we got the other blinky. I'll just see if I can balance this on the seat for a minute. Find that sweet spot. I know I can do it. Oh. Come on. There you go. That'll last just long enough. All right, so there's what the back looks like. Ooh, so pretty much all you got to do is drop some ecstasy and get a little... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's not good. I'll just set this... I'll set this here. I don't know. Where is it going to go? I'll set this here on the counter and get the light pointed in front. Get the full effect. Get that. Come on, lean. Just do what you're told. Do what you're told. Right there. Right there. Okay. So there's the whole... That's what you see when you're coming up behind me. And it's all, it's like a disc. It's like you're at the rave. All you need is a little bit of ecstasy. You need a couple of scantily clad women with their thongs hanging out of their jeans with baby bottle pacifiers in their mouths, and a little bit of or here we can get the full effect right here. So yeah, I'm riding down the fucking road. Booyah. Can't tell me you can't see that shit from a mile away. Somebody wants to get on my nerves, bright blast me. Booyah, you're getting a bright blast right back. That's how this baby rolls. So, yeah, it's a party on wheels. It's a rave on wheels. All I need is a DJ, a couple of turntables, and some pills, and you're good to go. Anyway, so with that, that's what you all get to look for. If you see this rolling down the streets of Houston, don't honk your horn unless you want to get a middle finger up in the air and a bright blast in your face. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you later. Have a good one. Peace out till the next time. Yeah.